They did not break up with you. They did not argue with you. They did not give you a reason. That they just stopped. No final message, no explanation, and no closure. One day they were there, and then they were not. And what you felt after that silence arrived was not just sadness. It was something that felt disturbingly physical. A tightness in your chest, a weight that would not lift, a pain that had no visible wound, and you probably told yourself, it should not hurt this much. They were not even that important. Why does it feel like this? Here is what neuroscience discovered. It is not that you are too sensitive. It is not that you cared too much. It is that your brain processed being ghosted the same way it processes being physically hurt. Not metaphorically. Literally. On a brain scan, the experience of social rejection and the experience of physical pain activate the exact same region, a structure called the anterior cingulate cortex. Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA, one of the most cited neuroscientists studying social pain, put people inside fMRI machines and had them experience social exclusion. Just being left out of a simple online game. Nothing dramatic, no relationship, no history, no emotional investment, just being ignored. And the anterior cingulate cortex lit up exactly the same way it lights up when you burn your hand, when you break a bone, when you are in genuine physical pain. Your brain has one alarm system, and it does not have separate settings for physical danger and social danger. To your brain, being rejected is being hurt, not similar to being hurt. The same. But here is what makes ghosting different from a normal breakup, and this is the part that explains everything. When someone breaks up with you, your brain receives a clear signal. It is over. The loss is real. The grief can begin. And grief, as painful as it is a process the brain knows how to run. It has pathways for loss. It has mechanisms for acceptance. It moves through stages because it has something to move through. Ghosting does not give your brain that signal. Ghosting gives your brain nothing. And nothing is the most destabilizing input a human brain can receive. Here is why. Your brain is a prediction machine. Its entire purpose, every moment of every day, is to make predictions about what will happen next. And it runs those predictions on patterns, on information, on signals from the world around it. When someone disappears without explanation, your brain has no pattern to run, no signal to process, no prediction it can make with confidence. So it does what it always does when it cannot resolve uncertainty. It searches, it replays every conversation. It examines every message, it questions every moment, looking for the data point it missed, looking for the explanation that will allow it to make a prediction, looking for the answer that will let it stop searching. This is not you being obsessive. This is your brain doing its job. It is running its standard threat detection protocol. Because in the absence of information, your brain defaults to one assumption: something is wrong. And it will not rest until it knows what. But the answer never comes, because the person who holds the answer has chosen silence. And so the search continues. Day after day, the loop keeps running. And this is why ghosting often hurts more than a direct rejection. A rejection gives your brain data. It is painful data, but it is data. Your prediction machine can process it, file it, and begin to move forward. Ghosting gives your brain an open file, a question with no answer, a search with no result. And open files do not close on their own. They run in the background and consuming mental energy for weeks, sometimes months, long after you have consciously decided to move on. Now here is the third layer. Because ghosting does not just activate your pain system and your threat detection system. It attacks something much deeper, your sense of social worth. Research published in 2025 in the Journal of Psychiatry and Brain Science found that the brain does not just react to rejection as pain. It uses rejection to recalibrate its estimate of your value in the social world. Every time you are rejected, Your brain updates its model of how much you are worth to others. This is why being ghosted feels like it says something about you as a person, even when you know logically that it does not. Even when your friends remind you that the other person's behavior reflects on them. Not you. Your brain is running a different calculation. It received a data point. The data point said, this person chose silence over explanation. And your brain filed that under evidence about my social value. Not evidence about their character. Evidence about you. This is not a thinking error you can simply correct. It is a biological update your brain runs automatically, below the level of conscious thought. Which is why being told you deserve better does not make the pain stop. Because the pain is not coming from your thoughts. It is coming from your neurobiology. So what actually helps? Neuroscience gives 3 specific answers. Not advice, not platitudes. Interventions that work at the biological level where the pain is actually happening. The first intervention is radical acceptance of uncertainty. Not acceptance that it is okay. Acceptance that you will never know. Research shows that the brain's search loop, the one running in the background consuming your mental energy, does not stop when it finds the answer. It stops when it accepts that no answer is coming. This is a different cognitive move than forgiveness. It is not forgiving them. It is closing the file, telling your brain, this search is over. Not because you found what you were looking for, but because continuing to search has a cost, and you are no longer willing to pay it. The second intervention is social reconnection. Immediately. When your brain's social pain system activates, when the anterior cingulate cortex lights up with rejection, the fastest way to reduce that activation is to give it evidence of social acceptance. Not from the person who ghosted you. From anyone. Call someone who will answer. Spend time with someone who chooses to show up. Your brain does not need closure from them specifically. It needs evidence that you are not alone, that you are wanted, that the ghosting was one data point, not the whole picture. Every interaction where someone chooses to be present with you is a counter-signal, a biological update in the other direction. The third intervention is the one nobody talks about, and it is the most powerful. Name what happened, out loud, to yourself or to someone else. Research on emotional labeling, pioneered by Matthew Lieberman at UCLA, found that naming an emotion reduces activation in the amygdala, your brain's emotional alarm system, within seconds. Not over time, within seconds. It's not, I feel bad. Specific naming. I was ghosted, and my brain is processing this as physical pain and running a search loop for an answer that is never coming and recalibrating my sense of social worth based on one person's silence. That level of specificity gives your prefrontal cortex, your rational brain, enough information to begin regulating the emotional response. Understanding does not eliminate the pain, but it changes its meaning. And meaning is what your brain uses to decide how long to keep the alarm running. You were not ghosted because you were not enough. You were ghosted because someone chose their own discomfort, the discomfort of a difficult conversation, over your need for basic human dignity. That is a choice they made about themselves, not a verdict they delivered about you. Your brain will try to make it about you, because that is what brains do with unexplained rejection. Your job is to keep correcting that update every time it runs, until the file finally closes. And it will close, not because you got the answer, because you stopped needing one.